Hey, Bad Christian here again, and today is October 17th. It's Friday of 2025, and there's a lot to talk about out here today. We got the No Kings protest that's getting ready to show up in America tomorrow, and I'm a little bit afraid for some people out there. I was a little confused because it seemed like this thing just kind of popped up out of nowhere. And the thing that concerns me is that I understand I'm not left and I'm not right. I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not even really center. I'm not anti-government, I'm not an anarchist, I believe in law and order, but the problem is that I understand the corruption goes beyond left, and I understand that the corruption goes beyond the right, okay? It goes beyond being conservative, liberal, MAGA, Antifa, whatever you want to call it. I understand that there are people that are funders and lobbyists of these movements that move these things in different directions, and I am concerned about the No Kings protest because, as far as I know, this thing didn't even really come into being until sometime around Charlie Kirk's assassination, which I find interesting because we had Netanyahu who said, I had absolutely nothing to do with this, and Indivisible, I believe it's called Indivisible, is the actual, these are the people that fund the No Kings protest, that schedule them and get them started, and these all come from somebody who was raised a Jew, and I'm not anti-Jew, far from it. I'm a Christian, and when it comes to the Jewish people, I have no animosity against them. But if funding and lobbyism is causing corruption in this country, and we have a right as Americans to understand where that comes from, we need to be paying attention to these things. And I am so afraid right now that people are being set up for failure. I'm afraid. This is just, there's too much going on too quick, guys. I just heard about there's supposedly a 250th anniversary for the Marine Parade that's going to take place on the same day. This thing came out of nowhere, guys, also. And it's interesting that all of a sudden these grand events that are going to take place in the United States are just manifesting out of nowhere, where all these millions of people are ready to show up when we know that Donald Trump has already announced to the military that his goal is to do training exercises inside the United States. He is even calling the military parade or whatever an exercise, if you will. I guess J.D. Vance is supposed to be there. Some are saying they're going to shoot missiles. I surely hope this is not true. I tried to find where this came from. Guys, listen. The 250th anniversary was held on June 14th. So this is obviously a response to the things that are going on. And we need to be careful. I mean, we have evidence of people like Trump and Johnson and Patel and Bondi talking about what their plans are in the future, the near future that we're looking at. Trump spoke of a surge that was supposed to take place. He spoke, let's see here. Let's just have a listen, shall we?
We're going to go into other cities that we're not talking about purposely. We're getting ready to go in. And when they go in, like Cash as an example told me that people didn't even know. 5 months ago, they went into Chicago, and they started doing a lot of work in Chicago, and we brought the numbers down a little bit. And but that really was just preparatory work for what we're going to do with the surge.
See the
surge. We're going to have a surge of strong, good people, patriots. This is an amazing.
All right, guys. So there you go. He has talked about this surge that he's going to send forward, all these military exercises that are going to take place in American cities, because we can't forget the original plan. I will keep preaching this, people. The original plan was that we have to take Canada, we have to take Greenland, and we have to make it all the way down to the Panama Canal. Now, never forget that, because every one of these little exercises that we're doing, regardless who's funding it and lobbying it, is all steps towards that, people. And we need to be very, very careful right now. We need to be extremely careful, all right? Guys, if you can't respect the people, respect the land, respect the country, before you respect warrantless detentions of people. I know people will say, oh, well, they're going after criminals, they're going after this. Well, it's interesting to me that when Donald Trump is raided, he has a major issue with it, and he wants to talk about weaponizing the DOJ. Well, Operation Summer Heat, which is the new biggest thing that they talked about yesterday, is run by the FBI, which is the DOJ, people. So you want to talk about weaponizing the DOJ? Donald Trump is weaponizing the DOJ against the American people. But he wants you to be concerned about weaponizing the DOJ against politicians. Isn't that convenient? That works out for both sides, left or right. If we pass laws in America that say, hey, legally, you can't do those things. You can't criticize politicians to a certain point. You can't prosecute politicians at a certain point. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into these prosecutions and these indictments so that it ends up exactly how it ended up when he was in office. To say, oh, well, you don't have a right to go after those people. I wouldn't be surprised if he loses those things on purpose to set that foot forward for the next person to come into play. And every time we continue to do this, these powers that are at play, they cinch down on us, and they cinch down on us, and they cinch down on us. It's interesting to me that the way that they speak it to the people. You've got people like Patel, and if anybody knows who that is, Patel, when he's coming out, he's talking about taking out the fangs of weaponization. We're here, and we can do these things, and we can make these operations, and we can do this stuff, and we can finally let good cops be good cops, and we can take out the fangs of weaponization. Well, newsflash, Mr. Patel, when you take the FBI and you form an operation called Operation Summer Heat, which is about how you're going to go in and say, screw warrants, we just want to go into American soil and be able to go into apartment buildings and complexes and jerk those people out in the middle of the night. That's all fun and games until it starts happening to you. If you owned an apartment building and they ran in there without no warrant and jerked everybody, if you were somebody who lived in there and you had to deal with this, you'd be throwing an absolute fit. And at the same time, Trump just can't handle, he just cannot handle that weaponization because they raided his house in Mar-a-Lago. While we carry on with this government shutdown because we don't want to release the Epstein files. We all know who's in the Epstein files. Don't pretend like you don't. Okay? I'm not talking crap. I'm talking truth. If y'all chasing after truth, you should be standing with me on this one. But let's have a listen to what Patel had to say about let the cops be good cops. So let's see here. I've got a clip for you. Give me 1 second.
Who want to go out there and do the men and women at the FBI who want to go out there and do the job they were prevented from doing because that department used to be weaponized and politicized. And this is what happens when you take out the fangs of weaponization. This number is historic by every metric. 28,000 people have been arrested. The men and women.
Interesting. So when you take out the fangs of weaponization, as he said, the end result is 28,000 arrests. So if we're complaining about weaponization here, what are we complaining about? Weaponization against politicians? Is that's not okay. The last thing we want to do is try to hold a politician accountable. I guess it depends on who you are and where you're standing, doesn't it? I don't want to get too off subject here, guys, because the point is that tomorrow, when the No Kings protest happens, there's going to be a lot of people and a lot of danger, and I don't want to see this go too far. And now that I found out that all of a sudden they're going to be shooting, I've heard, and I don't know if this is true. You don't know what you can trust on the internet anymore, can you? But the truth is that if they do this exercise and they shoot missiles onto American soil as a retaliation to say, No Kings protest is just a message of hate, then where are we with weaponizing the DOJ? Where are we with weaponizing our politics against our American people? Because the only people that are going to suffer from this, and I'm not speaking to the right and I'm not speaking to the left, I'm speaking to everybody, America. The only people who are going to suffer from this are going to be regular Americans. Just like all them soldiers that are out there do what they need to do, and they can't get funding right now. You know, if the Republicans want to, they have the seats. They could do it, but they don't want to because they don't want to swear in an oath that allows these things to be released before it's time. I don't think it's any coincidence at all that the government is still shut down and we're going into Saturday. And I'm really, really cautious about what we got in front of us. I want to go ahead and pull up what Johnson said about these things. Let's go ahead and have a listen to that. Let's see here.
Rally, okay? No King's Rally. We refer to it by its more accurate description, the Hate America Rally, okay? And I'm not sure how anybody can refute that. If you think about what's going to happen here tomorrow, you're going to bring together the Marxists, the socialists, the Antifa advocates, the anarchists, and the pro-Hamas wing of the far-left Democrat Party. That is the modern Democratic Party. That's where they've gone. And the Hate America Rally is the common theme among all those groups. Listen to the language they use themselves.
Listen to the language.
Many of them don't like living in America. They hate capitalism. They hate our free enterprise system. They hate our principles. They hate the ideas that we come in to work every day to fight for, to preserve, in the greatest nation in the history of the world. They hate the idea of individual freedom and limited government. They hate the idea of the rule of law. They fight against it all the time. They hate the idea of peace through strength. They lobby against it all the time. Individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, human dignity, the things that lead to human flourishing, the things that made us the greatest nation in the history of the world. They're no King's Rally.
Okay. Hate. So I hear the word hate. I hear it being spread around. But the last time I checked, it wasn't called the Hate America Rally. The last time I checked, it wasn't a pro-Hamas rally. You know, that this is against the idea that there's an authoritarianism going on inside of our government right now. And the fact that you're willing... Please, I hope that this is fake, that what I found is not true. If they show up with the military and do an exercise where they shoot missiles into America, that proves that it has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with these people. It just has to do with them putting their foot down saying, what we say goes. That's authoritarianism. Either you do what we say or you're gone. We're crossing boundaries and borders that we need to be very cautious of, people. America, I just want you to be careful about the politics you're partaking in, and I want you to be careful on Saturday. We don't know what to expect. I hope everything goes smooth out there. If you're somebody that's showing up for trouble, go home. We don't need this. We don't need to give them any more ammo to militarize and weaponize the DOJ against the American people. They obviously don't care about that. They only care about weaponizing the DOJ against politicians. And if you haven't heard Trump speak on those things, I mean, we can hold on a second here.
Opponent. That's what we have to talk about too.
We'd like to understand the full extent to which the Biden-Harris Justice Department weaponized federal law enforcement. What do you think the committee will find out, Mr. Sisson?
I think it was the worst weaponization of a political opponent in the history of the world, let alone this country. And I hope that everybody's, they're involved in it. I'm not. I'm the one that had to suffer through it and ultimately win. But what they did was criminal. Deranged Jack Smith, in my opinion, is a criminal. We're talking about political crime. They have committed massive political crime. I hope they're looking at Shifty Schiff. I hope they're looking at all these people. And I'm allowed to find out. I'm allowed to, I'm, in theory, the chief law enforcement officer.
Yeah,
but I have a very good, talented group. This is about something else, but I hope they're looking at political crime because there's never been so much political crime against a political opponent as what I had to go through. They
What about
raided my
political
house
crime
in
to
Florida.
people?
It was an illegal raid. I have a lawsuit that was doing
Illegal.
very well, and when I became president, I said, I'm sort of suing myself. I don't know. How do you settle the lawsuit? I'll say,
Thanks for
give me
suing us,
X
Trump.
dollars, right? And I don't know what to do with the lawsuit. It's a great lawsuit, and now I won. It sort of looks bad. I'm suing myself, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that was a lawsuit that was very strong, very powerful. They raided illegally my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago.
They raided illegally his house in Mar-a-Lago. The same thing that he's directing ICE to do right now. They're going into places without warrants, no due process. At least he got due process. But I'm supposed to be worried about weaponizing the DOJ against political opponents, but I'm supposed to support weaponizing the DOJ against political opponents when they're people that he doesn't want around. And this is all fine and dandy. I'm not being anti-Trump. I'm being anti-establishment at this point, because the problem is that these same people are going to enact these things, and this sets the precedent for the next people. And if you're on the right and you don't want the left to have the power to do these horrible political crimes to people in your party, then don't support that when it's your team doing that to the other. Somebody has to say, whoa, stop. And until we do that, we're going to continue down this hole. We're going to continue going into an abyss that we can't even fathom, guys, because at the end of the day, we're going to lose our country. We're going to open up power vacuums. This is all too convenient. Too convenient. They're not here to protect your Constitution. They're not here to protect your rights. They're not here to protect the government. They're here to protect themselves. And if you have to go for them to do that, they're okay with it. I want everybody to have a great day today. This has been Bad Christian. I love y'all. Until next time, stay safe out there.